Now at 5, authorities in Galena, Kansas released new details about a death investigation. Plus, the Missouri Humane Society rescues more than 40 dogs from a home in Neosho. And
the nation's highest court takes on student loan forgiveness. I'm Skyler Henry outside the Supreme Court with the arguments and the pushback over the Biden administration's plan.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The Kansas Bureau of Investigation releases new details about the investigation of remains found yesterday in a field in Galena. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. Galena police were alerted about the body around 3 p.m. yesterday. They quickly brought in the KBI to help. Authorities say the body is of a man, but is too badly decomposed to identify at this time. An autopsy has been scheduled to determine the cause of death. 41 dogs were rescued from a Newton County home this morning. The Missouri Humane Society received a call from the Newton County Sheriff's Department to rescue the dogs from a residence on Iris Road. The owner realized that she was no longer able to provide the necessary care for her pets. She called the sheriff's office for help. The Humane Society found the dogs were not abused or neglected.
Like I said, it was strictly a matter of she had some dogs, they bred, before she knew it, they bred, and all of a sudden she had 40-some animals. It's hard to find a home for an individual, for an individual to find a home for animals like that.
The Humane Society team removed the animals. They'll now be placed in foster homes or adoption centers. Freeman Health System is giving patients a new way to check in for their appointments. The new online system will automate appointments through a patient's phone or computer by reminding them of upcoming appointments and allowing them to confirm or cancel with ease. Officials say this new system will save patients a lot of time.
You know, so far we ask a lot of our patients to arrive ahead of time to visits, sometimes 30 minutes to an hour ahead of time. And instead of doing that, we're able to send everything to them ahead of time. They can fill it out, complete it, and we'll get it back before they ever walk in the door.
The new system will be available at all Freeman doctors' offices and clinics. Pleasant weather out there. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Eddy.
Yeah, it's actually turned out to be just a fantastic day for us today. Temperatures great into lower 70s for afternoon highs, not too windy across the region, but you can see clear skies across the entire Central Plains, which looks great, and that's what we're going to see as we go through the evening hours for us tonight. Look at our temps. It's 73 in Carthage, 76 at Grand Lake. We're at 71 in Pittsburgh. Independence is sitting at 74 degrees. So we're slowly going to drop as we go through the evening hours. We have just kind of a breezy southerly wind. The humidity is low. That's why we've had a red flag warning out there over the past couple hours. But it is going to stay breezy. Throughout the evening hours, slide back through the 60s, 50s, eventually down to about 46 later on tonight. And here's what we're working on. 60s again tomorrow, which is great. Thunderstorms Thursday. Rainfall amounts 1 to 3 inches. Could mix with some snow on Friday. We'll have all those details here in a bit.
See you soon. President Biden used the COVID pandemic as a way to forgive thousands of dollars in student loan debt for millions of Americans. But some Republican-led states have sued, claiming he doesn't have the authority to do that. Today, the Supreme Court justices heard arguments in that case. Reporter Skyler Henry has more details from the Supreme Court.
Students demonstrated outside the Supreme Court as justices heard arguments about the constitutionality of President Biden's program to forgive up to $20,000 in student loans for millions of Americans.
I applied immediately once it came to my email, and I saw that I was approved within a few days to a few weeks. But then it was also very disheartening to turn around to see that the Supreme Court did put a pause on that.
The conservative members of the court had questions about the president's ability to sidestep Congress in forgiving the loans.
We take very seriously the idea of separation of powers and that powers should be divided.
But the government argued the 2003 HEROES Act gives the Secretary of Education the power to waive any provisions of the student loan program in a national emergency. That argument seemed persuasive to the liberal justices.
Congress doesn't get much clearer than that. We deal with congressional statutes every day that are really confusing. This one is not.
As many as 43 million Americans could see some or all of their student loans forgiven if the court allows the program to continue. But some of the justices question whether that's fair to everyone else.
Why was it fair to the people who didn't get arguably comparable relief?
It was fair because in the absence of this relief, it's undisputed that there are going to be millions of student loan borrowers who are not going to be able to pay their student loans.
The Congressional Budget Office says the program will cost more than $430 billion. Skyler Henry, CBS News, the Supreme Court.
The court's expected to issue a ruling in the case sometime early this summer. With Russia's war in Ukraine now in its second year, Defense Department officials were called before both the House and Senate Armed Services Committees. Today's hearings focused on how the U.S. government is keeping track of taxpayer money and military equipment provided to the Ukrainians. House Republicans are expressing concern money earmarked for military, economic, and humanitarian assistance will end up in the wrong hands. Volunteers are still managing to rescue animals caught up in the devastating earthquakes that hit Turkey and Syria more than 3 weeks ago. Countless dogs and cats, many of them injured, are being cared for by local veterinarians before being put up for adoption. U.S. workers from PETA say they've saved more than 100 animals, including many birds that were trapped in buildings or simply left behind in the disaster. Still ahead, saving some cash when you take to the sky.
Flight prices are on the rise. I'm Wendy Gillette. I'll share some tips to help you save.
And next in Health Watch, how a unique therapy is changing the lives of two sisters living with a rare disease. Topping today's Health Watch, artificial sweeteners could be doing you a lot more harm than good. New Cleveland Clinic findings show that erythritol, a popular artificial sweetener, is associated with an increased risk of heart attack and stroke. Artificial sweeteners are widely used as no or low-calorie alternatives to sugar. The prevalence of childhood obesity is rising worldwide, and now new research in a European diabetes journal is the first study to show that children who are obese have an increased risk of developing 4 of 5 subtypes of adult-onset diabetes. Today is Rare Disease Day, raising awareness for the 300 million people worldwide living with a rare disease. Bradley Blackburn has the story of a Pennsylvania family who says a unique therapy is changing the lives of their 2 daughters.
Sisters Anna and Bella Burkhart share the same rare gene mutation. 12-year-old Anna was diagnosed when she was 4.
It was kind of bittersweet because on one hand, we were happy to finally have a diagnosis, but then on the other hand, nobody knew what it was. It was so rare.
There are only about 130 documented cases of the CASK gene mutation, which can affect brain development. After a lot of research, the Burkharts found an intensive play-based therapy pioneered by the Neuromotor Research Clinic at Virginia Tech's Fralin Biomedical Research Institute. Anna went at age 5.
It's delivered multiple hours a day, multiple days a week for multiple weeks. And we believe that it is impacting a child's ability to learn by creating changes in the brain and giving them platforms to maximize their development.
Yay! Occupational therapist Dory Wallace worked with Anna and Bella, who is now 2.
And push. Be able to reach out and activate a toy. We worked on sounds and being able to communicate.
For Bella, she sat up. She sat up, was playing with stuff with her hands, which I never saw her do.
They've changed our lives. They gave hope when there was none.
Doctors had told the Burkharts Anna would never walk, talk, or have a fulfilling life.
She's sassy, witty, funny. She goes to regular school. She got to be a cheerleader this past fall. Bella has a lot more medical needs. She doesn't walk or talk. And so I think that's difficult for us to see them be so different. Even if that's not her journey, we're still going to hold hope that it will be.
At home, the family is using everything they've learned, so the girls keep making strides. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.
The research clinic's team had worked with many children with disabilities that had affected their brain development and function, but Anna was the first child with a CASK gene mutation they worked with. Making healthy lifestyle choices in middle age might lead to a decreased risk of dementia later in life. New research by the American Academy of Neurology followed more than 13,000 female participants for 2 decades and found that 7 healthy habits and lifestyle factors may play a role in lowering the risk of dementia. The 7 cardiovascular and brain health factors known as the American Health Association Life's Simple 7 are eating better, being active, eating better, maintaining a healthy weight, not smoking, maintaining a healthy blood pressure, controlling cholesterol, and having low blood sugar. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, what a new report shows about consumer confidence in our economy.
Plus, we're tracking a big storm system rolling in by Thursday. Those details coming up. Well, of course, it's turned out to be a beautiful day for us today, into the 70s for highs. A little bit on the breezy side, but in general, just a fantastic Tuesday. We've had 3 days in a row with just really nice afternoons. Nice shot, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort Indigo, just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Look at these temps, 72 in Fort Scott, 74 in Independence, Miami's at 74, Pittsburgh 71, 74 in Anderson. So everybody into the 70s. It looks just fantastic. So if you want to get out for the evening, do it. We have clear skies, nice shot. Here's 7th and Rangeline sitting at 73. The humidity is very low, and with the winds, that's why we have a little bit of a fire danger as we go through the evening hours, but our temps will slide back through the 60s, 50s, eventually into the 40s, but we're going to have clear skies as we go through the evening hours if you want to get out. All right, a little bit breezy. Winds kind of shifted out of the south. We've had kind of south winds 10 to 20, and then we've had gusts a little bit higher than that, 25 upwards of 30 miles per hour at times. These winds will back down a little bit for us tonight, which is good news, but nothing going on here. In fact, the entire Central Plains look pretty good. There is a wave across the northern plains, will not affect us. Our next storm system we are really watching is out across parts of California. Very strong upper level low that is going to track toward us by the time we head into Thursday and change our weather up. So first off, ahead of it, let's look at the next 36 hours and then we'll dig into that storm system. All right, winds back out of the north later on tonight. We drop back into lower 40s, pretty much clear skies. We do get a lot of clouds tomorrow. Thin, mid and upper level clouds. Because of the northerly winds, it's going to be cooler, but it's still going to be a great day. Upper 50s by noon. I think most of us will go into lower 60s by the time we head into the afternoon. Day planner, 48 start, 58 noon, 60 during the afternoon. North winds at about 10 to 15. All right, tomorrow night we briefly clear out, then here come the clouds again. Showers, thunderstorms scattered, develop as we go through Thursday morning. These are going to lift through. We'll have hit and miss showers into the afternoon. Then here comes the main show. This is going to be Thursday evening. Big time thunderstorms once you get into eastern Oklahoma. We have a low severe threat in our southern counties, but the greater severe threat will stay south of the viewing area. I think our main threat is going to be very heavy amounts of rain, but a very loud Thursday evening. Showers, thunderstorms, periods of thunderstorms. Showers continue into Friday morning, and then this is when it gets a little bit interesting. We get on the backside of this storm system and a lot of question marks on how much cold air can we filter into this system. If we can get enough, we'll switch over to snow, but we could just stay a cold rain. So this is something we want to watch as we go through the next couple days to kind of figure out exactly if we can switch over to snow. We are going to make it alert days because I do think we have a flash flooding threat on Thursday into Friday. 62 tomorrow, 58 Thursday, 46 on Friday. We do clear out for most of the week, and Sunday looks great. Could get a few showers on Saturday.
We'll have to keep an eye on that possibility of severe flooding.
Yep.
Thanks, Doug. Squeaking in on this last day of February, a major coast-to-coast storm is reminding us it is still winter. The storm dropped several inches of snow in the northeast, snarling morning commutes, forcing flight cancellations. Meanwhile, near the Great Lakes, where residents typically expect snow, the region's covered in ice from freezing rain. It's part of the same system that started with rare blizzards in Southern California before unleashing 110-mile-per-hour winds in the Southern Plains. Coming up, as people look to travel this summer, we're going to have some tips to save you money on flights. Topping today's Consumer Watch, Americans' consumer confidence about the current and future U.S. economy appears to be waning. The Conference Board reports its index fell to roughly 103 in February. That's down from 106 last month, and according to Refinitiv consensus estimates, it's lower than economists predicted. Rising interest rates and concerns about a potential recession could be behind the dip. If you've tried to book a flight lately, you've probably noticed prices are rising dramatically in some cases. But there are tricks of the trade to get you lower fares. Wendy Gillette reports on some money-saving flying tips from Los Angeles.
Airline ticket prices are flying up these days, just as many Americans are booking for spring break and summer travel.
It's really prices like too high, you know.
The mobile app Hopper released data showing flights to Europe this spring are 16% higher compared to pre-pandemic 2019. Airfares to Mexico and Central America are up 30%. Right now, domestic flights average around $270 round trip and are expected to reach $350 by May.
We're seeing huge demand for both domestic and international trips. That's driving up prices, and costs are already high. Inflation is impacting hotels and airlines just as much as it's impacting consumers.
So how to steer clear of some of that sticker shock? Expedia put together a report on air hacks.
You should always look at booking on a Sunday. That's when the fares tend to be the lowest. If you're booking a domestic airfare, look 30 days out, international up to 6 months out to get those good fares.
As for what days to fly, think midweek and avoid leaving on weekends when demand is highest.
This spring, we're seeing those priciest days to fly are on Saturdays, March 25th, and then the following Saturday, April 1st. So if you can avoid those days, it's probably a good idea.
Both Expedia and Hopper offer free monitoring services to help track prices.
Airfares can change hundreds of times in a single day.
Also consider bundling when you book, purchasing a hotel stay and rental car at the same time you pull the trigger on flights. Expedia says that can save an average of $300, giving you more money to spend once you land. Wendy Gillette, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Expedia finds good deals for domestic spring travel to Fort Lauderdale, San Diego, and New York City, and international flights to Iceland, Denmark, and Spain. Hopper has also picked up on decent pricing to Orlando, Tampa, and Houston, and internationally to the Caribbean. TikTok will soon be banned from all U.S. government-issued devices. That's according to White House guidance issued yesterday, saying federal agencies and those they contract with have 30 days to remove the Chinese-owned app from devices. It comes after a bill passed last year requiring federal agencies to ditch the social media app over concerns that users in the U.S., their data could find its way to the Chinese government. TD Bank has agreed to resettle a lawsuit related to an alleged Ponzi scheme. Toronto Dominion Bank announced it'll pay $1.2 billion to settle an investor's lawsuit. Well, the bank says it is settling the claim. It denies any wrongdoing. Investors say the bank helped disgraced financier Alan Stanford pull off a $7 billion Ponzi scheme uncovered more than a decade ago. A final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, the importance of being not only financially ready to retire, but also emotionally ready. Then on KOAM News at 6, authorities in Carthage investigate a mobile home fire. Plus, we'll have more on the rescue of 41 dogs from a home in Neosho by the Missouri Humane Society. And Pitt State and Missouri Southern rack up all MIAA basketball honors. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Well, we've enjoyed another beautiful day out there, Doug.
Yeah, today definitely hands down the best day that we have seen and are going to see for the rest of the work week. Tomorrow's still not bad, 62 with a lot of clouds, but thunderstorms, heavy amounts of rain on Thursday into Friday. Could even get a little bit more snow mixing in with it. So, of course, I'm going to give you the latest on this on KOAM News at 6.
Thanks for joining us. CBS Evening News is next, and of course, we will be right back here at 6. See you then. Let's make it a great evening.